حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق، ثم الصلاة والسلام على النبي الأمي القرشي الهاشمي الأبتهي الخاتم لما سبق والفاتح لمن غلق، المعلن الحق بالحق، الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم مصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله، ثم اللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين، غاصبي حقوقهم منكري فضائلهم، من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها، وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل، إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به، إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا. صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
In chapter An-Nisa, verse number 58, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala talks about something very important. One of the values, one of the ethical values, which is being gradually forgotten in our communities and societies. And this is about trustworthiness. If someone entrusts something to you, you have to take care of it. And this is a very clear command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He says, Inna Allaha ya'amurukum. Allah is verily, surely Allah is ordering you. Inna Allaha ya'amurukum an tu'addul amanati ila ahliha, that you give away the entrusted things to its rightful owner. وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ. And if you are to judge something amongst the people, judge rightly with justice. إِنَّ اللَّهَ نِعِمَّ يَعِظُكُمْ. And God's advice is the most noble advice. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. He sees and hears everything. So the first part of this ayah, which is from chapter Nisa, verse 58, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala clearly announces that it is wajib upon us. This is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if something is being entrusted to us, we have to give it back as it is. This is something very important, and most of the trust issues today in our societies is because of this. Because people are being betrayed. People feel they are being betrayed. People are giving something, but they are not getting it back. When you give something, when you are giving amanat to something, to someone, or you are receiving an amanat from someone, it is wajib upon us to give it back the same way we received it. This is the most important, not only this ayah, there are several more ayats in the Holy Quran where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala talks about this amanah and the importance and the significance of this issue. The whole chapter Mu'minun, in the first few verses where Allah counts the qualities of mu'mineen, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, and the rest of the qualities, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَأَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. This is one of the qualities of a mu'min. Mu'min can be anybody, but he cannot be a one who betrays. Mu'min can be anything, but he cannot be someone who betrays. A Shia and a lover of Imam can be anything, but he cannot be someone who betrays others. This is important. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, and the qualities, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ, and mu'mineen are those. This is a sign of a mu'min. Sign of a mu'min is not someone who only wears rings, as we see in during Arba'in. This hadith is being usually recited. No, it is only not that. There are so many other signs. There are so many other things that is important and wajib upon us to act upon. This is important. Allah wa Ta'ala says, and those who fulfill their trusts. Who are the mu'mineen? وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَأَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. They take care of those things which are entrusted to them. And those people, mu'mineen, are those who fulfill their trusts and keep their promises. One very important riwayat, I'm sure my elders, they have heard about this riwayat regarding amanat and trustworthiness from the fourth Imam, Imam Sajjad, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam. If someone, I will just recite it and I will just translate it. I don't have the capacity to go into the depth and convey the essence of this hadith, which Imam tries to convey. It is upon you to think over it. This is something very deep. Imam says about amanat, about trustworthiness. Imam says, gathers around the Shi'as and the followers, and the Imam says, alaykum bil ada'il amana. O my Shi'as, O my followers, O people who love me and follow me, it is upon you, it is obligatory upon you, it is wajib upon you to give back the amanat and the things that are entrusted to you. فَوَالَّذِي, now this is important, everybody, I need attention from everyone. فَوَالَّذِي بَعَثَ مُحَمَّدًا بِالْحَقِّ نَبِيًّا, and I swear upon the one who has sent down the Prophet truly. لو أن قاتل أبي الحسين بن علي عليه السلام ائتمنني على السيف الذي قتله به لأديته إليه. الله Akbar. Imam al-Sajjad, who talks about this? Imam al-Sajjad, the fourth Imam says, I swear upon Allah who has sent down Muhammad with the truth, if the killer of my father comes to me and gives me the sword with which he slaughtered my father as an amanah, I will give it back to him as it is. Allah. This is the intensity and the seriousness of this issue. That you can be anything. A Shia can be anything. He might not pray sometimes, he might miss his fast sometimes, but he will never betray. This is very important. This is very, very important for all of us. Why today we are facing, we don't care about amanah today. If you have borrowed a small pen, you will have to give it back as it is. Sometimes we go borrow around things from our neighbors, but we forget because we are not paying attention to it, but the neighbor is waiting. We take loans and we don't give it back. We borrow money, we don't give it back. Why? This is haram. This is something we need to think over it. And this is why we are destroying the very fabric of trustworthiness in our societies. Nobody trusts each other. The brothers, they don't trust. The sisters, they don't trust. Family members, they have no trust among themselves. Why? Because this amanat, let this be very clear. This amanat does not mean only cash or kind. Amanat can be something tangible, something intangible, something materialistic, something non-materialistic. It can be a promise. Yes, it can be a promise. Why? You are making a promise, you are making an agreement, you are breaking it. Our businesses, our workplaces, our schools, our Jamaat. This Husayniyah, this is Amanah in our hands. We don't own it. Who owns it? It's the Imam who owns it. This is Amanah. We cannot destroy it. We cannot, we use it, but we cannot use it in a way that destroys things. This is important for all of us to understand. Why? We don't understand. We are sitting on this carpet. We are using this mic. We're using the lights. We cannot do israf and tabdhir. This is destroying things. This is important for all of us to understand that these things are amanat. And sometimes I'm telling you that this amanat is not always something tangible. It can be a promise, or it can be a word which is a secret shared with you only. Sometimes we don't have the capacity to digest something, and someone is sharing something with me. Someone came for an advice, maybe the business, maybe some proposal of marriage, I don't know, whatever. They came for an advice, they come for counseling. If they come with something secret about their life, we don't have any authority to go and spread around that secret. It is khiyanat fil amana, because that word is amanat to you. Imam says, if the killer of my father comes to me and give me the sword which he used to kill my father, Imam Hussein, if he gives it to me and trusts it to me, I will give it back as it is. He's not going to say, oh, you are kafir, you are mushrik, you are the killer of my father. No, I'm not going to give it back to you, or I don't want to. No, if you cannot take the responsibility, don't accept it. Some of us, we have to take care of these things. These things are something, and sometimes, I will get to this later on now. What are the effects of, betrayals? Now, Imam says you have to give the amanat, and you have to be trustworthy in your life. And then again, Imam says one of the qualities of recognizing a mu'min, we usually, how do we recognize a mu'min? He's praying, coming to the mosque, fasting, ruku, sujood. Imam says all of these things are good, but these things are not the sign. If you want to check, there's a litmus test for that. What is Imam saying? Imam says, the sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu was-salam, these riwayat, they change the whole concept. Sometimes we have some concept in our minds, but Imam is changing everything. Imam says, لا تنظروا إلى ركوع الرجل إلى طول الركوع الرجل وسجوده. Don't look at the long ruku and sujood that a person is doing. You want to know what type of a person he is? Don't look at his ruku. Don't look at how long he's going in prostration. Don't look how long he's bending down for ruku. وَسُجُودِهِ فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ شَيْءٌ اِعْتَادَهُ. Maybe this is something that he's accustomed of, and he's used to doing long ruku and long sujood. But if you want to, Mawla, what do we do then? How do we recognize a mu'min? We always used to recognize a mu'min and a true person by looking at his prayer. Mawla, you are telling something else. Yes. وَلَكِنْ أُنظُرُوا. What do we look at? وَلَكِنْ أُنظُرُوا إِلَى صِدْقِ حَدِيثِهِ وَأَدَاءِ أَمَانَتِهِ. And look how truthful he is in his speech, and how trustworthy he is when he is entrusted with something. Allah. This is the criteria Imam is giving. How truthful we are in our speech, and how trustworthy we are when we are entrusted with something. Isn't this important now? This akhlaq that I was telling you the other day, that first in the teachings of Islam, first is your ideology, aqaid, then akhlaq, then ahkamat. We sometimes emphasize, when I tell something like this, don't think, it does not mean namaz or your wajibat are not important. They are very important. They are the foundations. But the only thing is that sometimes we look towards something so much that we end up neglecting something else, which is also necessary. We need a balance in our lives. Insan al-kamil, a perfect person, has balanced life. A balanced life is very important. You cannot only rely on your namaz, where you are fulfilling huququllah, but where are the huququl ibad? It's important. If your neighbors are not satisfied with you, if they are angry towards you, if your parents, if your brothers, if your sisters, if your family members, then you are not going to have a healthy relation with your Lord also. I have told this in the beginning also, and we'll discuss it later on, inshallah. Now, one of the most important things we were discussing the other night about shaitan, how shaitan comes into our lives. I have told you many different examples and stories. Now, Imam ﷺ points out at a very important thing in this issue. Imam says this amanat which you have, is so tempting sometimes. It's so tempting that shaitan uses this amanat to infiltrate and to come into your lives. How? Imam says, "Man u'tumina ala amanatin." If someone has been given an amana, fa'addaha, and he gives it back, what has he done? Halla alfa uqdatim min unuqih, uqadin nar. If a person has given back an amana, he has done a good thing. And what has he done? He has freed himself from 1,000 knots of hellfire around his neck. 1,000 knots of hellfire around. I don't know what does this mean. That means you are close to hell. You are close to fire if you have taken some responsibility. You have to. People fight for responsibilities these days, but they don't have the capacity to hold that responsibility. I don't know why. What do they think? I want to be at that position. I want that. Do you really know all these things? If you are fighting for a position, you have been entrusted with a responsibility that you need to fulfill. Imam says 1,000 knots of hellfire around your neck. And once you pay it back, you give it back and you're free, then you are free of this. And then Imam says, فَبَادِرُوا بِأَدَاءِ الْأَمَانَةِ. Hasten in giving back the amana. As soon as you see someone that he is ready to take back his amana, give it back quickly. Why? فَإِنَّ مَنْ أُؤْتُمِنَا عَلَىٰ أَمَانَةٍ. Why? Because the person who has been entrusted with an amana, وَكَّلَ, this is sensitive, وَكَّلَ بِهِ إِبْلِيسُ مِئَةَ شَيْطَانٍ مِنْ مَرَدَةٍ أَعْوَانِهِ. What does Iblis do? Iblis appoints and delegates hundreds of devils for this person who has an amana in his hand to tempt him and to do waswasa لِيُضِلُّوهُ وَيُوَسْوِسُوا إِلَيْهِ حَتَّى تُهْلِكُوا. Comes and does all this waswasa. You can use it. He's your friend. He will forgive you. Nobody will know. A single piece, if you use it. You cannot. If you have borrowed a car of your friend, you have to give him back as it is, not a single scratch on that car. And if it is there, you have to deal with it. Sometimes we don't care. Oh, he's going to forgive. Oh, he's going to forget. We borrow things and we forget. How can it be possible? A person, if you are borrowing something, how can you forget that thing? People come and they complain to me, Maulana, I had given something to that person. I'm ashamed to ask him and remind him again and again. And he's not giving it back. He doesn't remember. He forgot. How can you forget? You have to write it down. Make notes of your life. It should be a part of. This is a separate topic. It should be a part of our well under our pillow every night. If I've borrowed something, I have to put it on my well for my family and friends to take care of it after I'm dead. We don't care about it, as if we have done nothing. This is an amana in our hands. This is something very important. I met someone the other day in one of the cities. I don't want to take name. He was a good businessman. He had a business. He owned a company. And he was telling me when he goes for vacations, he does not give the keys of his office to the Shia boys working for him. Allah. Why? Because he doesn't trust them. This is something so disheartening sometimes when you listen to these, unfortunately. He's giving the keys of his office and to his safe and to his locker to the Christians and Hindus, everybody, but he will not give it to the lovers of Ahlul Bayt. Why? Because they have not shown enough trustworthiness. They have not shown enough. Iman is not something you speak of. Iman is something that you show in your action, that you are capable to hold the responsibility and you are trustworthy, you can be trusted. This is what Imam ﷺ is saying. You cannot betray people. You have to understand the Holy Prophet was known as Sadiq and Amin. This was the most important sign of a prophet. In Quran, Surah Mubarakah, Shu'ara, at least 5 names of the prophets have been mentioned, and all of them kept on repeating the same thing. Inni lakum rasulun ameen. Inni lakum rasulun ameen. I am for you a trustworthy prophet. Why this trustworthiness is so important? It became a sign of prophethood. It is important for all of us. A prophet cannot be a prophet without trustworthiness. How can a mu'min be a mu'min without being trustworthy? Prophet Nuh, Prophet Hud, Prophet Saleh, Prophet Lut, Prophet Shu'aib, Prophet Musa, all of them repeated the same thing. Inni lakum rasulun ameen. And our beloved Prophet, the seal of the prophets, prophethood, the Holy Prophet said, he was known as Sadiq wa Ameen. Why? Even before he could preach something, he showed his character, he showed it, and he brought it at a level that the mushrikeen and kuffar, the enemies, used to call him Sadiq and Ameen. And in our communities, our own brothers do not trust each other. The Shias not trusting others. You will give your Amanah to a bank, but you will not give it to a Shia. You will not trust. You will pay extra money to give it to them, but you will not because you don't trust anybody. You don't have that trust. This is gone. I don't know why. You talk to someone, you share something to someone on the phone, the next day you go to the mosque, the word is spread out there like wildfire. You trusted something to someone, and you told something about to someone, and the word is gone outside, spread everywhere. Everybody knows now. Why is this? Why can't we keep things to ourselves? If someone is coming to talk to us, if someone is sharing something to us, we'll go spread that out. Someone will come and tell me something secret. Maulana, don't tell this to anybody. This is something very important to us. This is a secret of our family. I will tell you. Don't share it with someone. I'm just telling you. And you will tell someone else. Don't talk about it. This is a secret. And then the secret never remains a secret anymore. This is what is happening. This is why people lose faith. This is why people lose trust. And unfortunately, it's happening. It's happening at a very large scale. Now, what happens is that the Holy Prophet, the importance of Amanat in the eyes of the Holy Prophet was that when he was migrating from Mecca to Medina, so important it was that he left Amir al-Mu'mineen on his bed and told him to give away the Amanat and then come for Hijrah. This is how important it is. We sometimes look at the fadail part, but we don't look at the responsibility part, because it's a responsibility. It's going to fall on our shoulders. Lover of Imam Ali, how can he betray someone? It does not fit, it does not connect. There is no connection between someone betraying and the love of Imam Ali. Ali ibn Abi Talib slept in that under those circumstances to just give away the amanat. It's important. And the Holy Prophet also chose Ali ibn Abi Talib so that people get used to giving to Rasul and taking from Ali, because it is the same hand. Rasulullah wanted to teach people, it is the same hand. This is the meaning of nafs. You have given it to me and you will take it from Ali. And you have to make it a habit to ask from Ali. This is something important. This is what Rasulullah is teaching. These are the fadail. But the fadail also has something called responsibility, which is important for all of us to understand. Imam Ali ﷺ is giving all those. And who are these people? These are not the people of lover of Rasulullah. These are the kuffar and mushrikeen of Makkah. They entrusted things to the Holy Prophet, and he's saying, I cannot leave without giving it back. Oh Ali, you will have to stay back and you have to give my amanats, and then you can migrate from Makkah to Medina. This is how important it is for the Holy Prophet. And now, for the effects, one of the most important effect of betraying, breaking promises, not giving back the loans and amanat, one of the important effects is that poverty will fall upon us. If someone is betraying, Rasulullah said he has to be ready for poverty. And if someone is giving back what he's entrusted with, his life is going to be filled with wealth. So this is very important. Sometimes we keep on taking loans, we are not giving them back while we can. I've seen so many people, I don't want to know now. I really don't want to go into details. Otherwise, what will happen? Someone will come to me and tell me, who complained. So people are, they are living on rent and they're not paying their rents. Why? This is something you have agreed upon. You cannot live in a house without paying a rent while you can. And in the same house, you are having azadari, niyaz, nazr, everything. You have money for all of that, but you don't have money for this. How come it is possible? You have to pay back first what you own to others. Then only this will be accepted. Now, keep on taking loans and don't give them back. This is what is happening. Poverty is coming in your life. You are becoming poorer and poorer. You are going to debt. Your life is full of debts. Now, the second important thing the Holy Prophet says, if a person betrays and does not give back the amanat, he will be out of my religion. He's not a mu'min anymore. The Holy Prophet says, Man khana amanatan fid dunya walam yuraddaha ila ahliha. And if a person takes an amanat and does not give it back to the rightful owner, thumma adrakahul maut, and then he dies. He takes an amana, does not give it back, and he dies. Thumma adrakahul maut. Mata ala ghayri millati. He dies outside of my religion. He's not on my religion. He's not on the faith, on the religion of Islam. He's not a mu'min. This is how sensitive it is. This is how important this issue is. And sometimes we say, akhlaq, okay, akhlaq. Maulana is giving lectures about akhlaq. We can skip one or two. Yeah. So these things are very important. Akhlaq is related to your iman, our iman. We cannot neglect these things. The very, the fabric of our communities depends upon a healthy, ethical, moral society. If we don't have these morals in our life, if we don't practice these ethical values in our lives, what is going to happen? And then Rasulullah says, وَيُلْقَى وَهُوَ عَلَيْهِ غَضَبَانِ وَيُلْقَى اللَّهُ وَهُوَ عَلَيْهِ غَضَبَانِ. When he meets his Lord is going to be angry with him. Why? Because he has made angry the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not giving back what he has taken. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen says, إِيَّاكَ وَالْخِيَانَةِ. This khiyanat is going to lead you to hellfire. Imam says, إِيَّاكَ وَالْخِيَانَةِ فَإِنَّهَا شَرُّ مَعْصِيَةٍ. This khiyanat is the biggest sin possible. It is the biggest sin, the worst of sins. شَرُّ مَعْصِيَةٍ وَإِنَّ الْخَائِنَ لَمُعَذَّبٌ بِالنَّارِ عَلَى خِيَانَتِهِ. And a person who betrays is going to burn in the hellfire because of his khiyanat, because of betraying, because of not giving back what he has taken. Therefore, we have to be very, very careful in our lives. If someone has entrusted us with a secret, with a talk, with something that is not supposed to go out, we have to hold it to ourselves. We cannot share it. We cannot, tell others, inform others about the secret. If someone has given me something, I have to give it back to him. If I have borrowed something from someone, I have to be careful while using those things, and I have to give them back exactly as they are. Therefore, you can use amanat only under those circumstances that you have given it for. If you have been given amanat, for example, a car or a pen or something, you can just use it in that. You cannot sell it, you cannot break it, you cannot use it in other purposes. So you have to be careful when the amanat, when you receive an amana, if you cannot take up the responsibility, don't take. You're not being forced to take that responsibility. But if you are asking and borrowing something from someone, you have to give it back as it is. Otherwise, this amanat will be khiyanat in the amana. You are a dhamin, you will be held responsible, you will be held accountable. Now, coming to a very sensitive, last important point, and I always want to, I don't like my members and my majalis to go without the dhikr of Ahlul Bayt. One of the most important amanat that was given to us, that is given to us by the most important creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Holy Prophet himself, Rasulullah Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If an amana is given to us by the Holy Prophet, is it not our responsibility to take care of that amana? I want you to affirm first, confirm this. If an amana is given to us, to the whole Muslim ummah, if Rasul gives us an amana and trust us with something valuable, aren't we supposed to take care of it? We are supposed to take care of it. Every Muslim will say, yes, we have to take care of it. Rasulullah said, Inni tarikun fikum al-thaqalain, kitab Allah wa itrati ahla bayti. I'm going and I'm entrusting you with two very important things. What are those things? The Quran and my Ahlul Bayt and my household. And now what did the Ummah do to this household? Are we really taking care of this? Has the Ummah really taken care of this amana? This household, the family of the Holy Prophet, Lady Zahra salamun alayha, Imam Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam al-Hasanain alayhim salatu wasalam. And how to take care of the only people taking care of this amana are those إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله وعترتي أهل بيتي ما إن تمسكتم بهما. You have to stick to them. You have to obey them. You have to practice them in your life. And the only people we need to, we can be so proud of ourselves. Alhamdulillah. We have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this ni'mah of the wilayah of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, that we are really sticking to, trying to imitate and practice the sayings of Ahlul Bayt in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us more tawfiq to understand and to practice the words of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam in our lives. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala give us the understanding of Quran and to practice it in our lives. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala cure everybody who is sick, especially the lovers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala protect the Muslim Ummah and the lovers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam around the globe. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala count us amongst the companions of the Imam of our time, and may Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.